No, I don't think so. Well, yeah, you say, is this possible now? We've got a new mayor and a new chief, and I don't know.
Well, I mean, I
This
realize
is
all
one
things
of
are
the things.
possible.
I didn't endear myself to the politicians because when I came in as chief, I had my pension within view, and so this made a great deal of difference as to my own conduct, and I just would not play politics under any circumstances. And of course, I hurt myself with the politicians. They don't, they didn't appreciate me too much.
Well, let me go back further. Then you started out as a patrolman in '45.
Right.
Then, and how did you come up?
This was prior to civil service, and well, prior to practically any real organization of the police
Do
department.
you have any idea how many men there were in '45?
Yeah, 1945 there was 275. In 1949, March of 1949, I was promoted to lieutenant in the uniform division.
What does the uniform division mean?
That's the people in uniform.
As
Actually, it's the patrol division, I guess
As
is a better.
opposed to the
inspectors.
plainclothesmen.
Yeah, the plainclothesmen, and of
Right.
course there was a difference in traffic back in those days too.
Did uniform include the traffic?
No, it didn't really include the traffic. They made a separation there, but the uniform would include
The
the
traffic
but
officers were
it's,
wearing pea coats and navy pants.
Well, no, it really wasn't that. We got some clothes finally. This was just an unfortunate thing that they just, clothes were not available at that point in time. But the patrol division is essentially what was known as the squad cars of that day, and of course they felt no obligation to traffic. Traffic felt little obligation to the other, which is a ridiculous situation that I tried to change, but I'm not too sure they're not going back to it now. In March 1949, I was promoted to uniform lieutenant. At that particular point in time, of course, nobody had bothered to train supervision within a police department, because in an autocratically operated organization you don't really need supervisors, because the one boss at the top makes all the decisions anyway. And but I couldn't rest at that, because I had been taken out of, I was a real energetic individual. I caught a lot of burglars and a lot of hold-up men. That's probably the reason why I got promoted, on the basis of that, not on my ability to supervise, because this was never considered at that point in time. But I went to the library, and I got a book on supervision, and I suppose I've read nearly all the volumes available on supervision and management since then, because it just really struck my fancy, and I've taken a tremendous interest in it. And
were you unusual in this regard?
Oh, completely unusual.
There weren't very many other Memphis police officers who were at that point
Oh,
doing
no.
that.
No, and this is still true. See, this still holds true in law enforcement, and this is one of the big problems that you have. Law enforcement people, per se, are functional people. The society is orientated that law enforcement is to catch criminals. All of the emphasis, all of the training has always been functional training, how to catch a burglar. So eventually what happens, because of the system, the best burglar catcher becomes the chief. Now, he's not a manager, and now he's dealing with millions of dollars. And he's still catching burglars. The poor fellow.
This is really that man's book, The Peter Principle, where everyone keeps getting promoted till they're just above the level at which they operate.
They reach the level of incompetence.
Right.
It's Peter's. I've read that
Yeah,
book.
that's
It's real.
a lovely theory, and quite applicable.
Oh, extremely applicable. And also, you can get this and up the organization. Oh, you've read that one,
Right,
because
right.
it's a real good one too. But this is basically, I had a conversation less than a year ago with the chief of one of the 3 largest departments in the country, and he was lamenting the fact that he'd have a real good patrolman, and this guy would just catch all the burglars and thieves. He'd promote him to a sergeant, and boy, he couldn't do nothing. Now, this man didn't know what this fellow's problem was. He hadn't taught him to be a supervisor, and now he's in a different world. Now, this is now. This is not 25 years ago. This is still going on in this, unfortunately. And this is why I get my wires crossed with so many of them, because they don't understand this. They just don't understand it. They think that it's burglar catching and that's it. Well, of course, that is the basic reason that you exist. But then when you get into the hierarchy and you're talking about administering millions of dollars, and you look at a police operation and you find no standards set. Nobody, everything's flying by the seat of the pants. If we have 3 more burglars out here tonight, well, we should move 3 more men. And they stay there for 6 months until they crop up over here. And you just do it off the top of your head. And it's well, of course, it's no worse than the rest of the government. The waste is so fantastic that it's unbelievable in the bureaucracy of governments. But we're getting way off of it.
Well, you did find, though, when you did acquire this, that it was possible for you to put some of
Oh, no,
these-
I was never allowed to use it
You
until I
weren't.
become chief. No.
You just,
I never-
you were learning it and you were observing. And
Well, it did a great deal for me because basically I'm a systems reader.